What's done is done. We move on without Garrett, but with a right fielder who again entered this season and is currently the third best prospect in baseball. I get it's for an elite reliever, but man, if you can get the third best prospect in baseball for a relief pitcher, it's kind of tough to say no. And the number one position player. You're right. I think we made the right choice. Time will tell. Really quickly, again, I am only using the trade block. Trade Finder is fucking broken. I want to see, and I'm willing to take a bunch of these other guys off because actually, it's really quickly. Catcher-wise, there was nothing we need to do. We're certainly not getting rid of a reliever right now. I highly doubt we get anything for Cavadas or Hamilton or any of those guys. But Jones, Sogard, I would love to trade both of them. Mitchell, Rafaela, Mesa, Duran, Hester, DeLauder, and Blay are now going to be added, and we're looking pretty much exclusively for pitching. We'll see if we get an offer in the next day or so. Trade Finder trades are super, super unbalanced. They have been for a while, and unfortunately they still are. For example, let me look at Martin Webster. Okay, in fairness, not a good example because that guy's not very good. It's more overpowered when it comes to prospects. If I look at, Tristan Casas actually isn't even a good idea. Let's look at Austin Wells. Prospects. Please don't break the game.
For you.
Shout out to Mike Trout, has a monster dong. Yeah, there's your example right there. He does have a monster dong. But Shohei Ohtani has a Godzilla-sized dong, as we learned in the World Baseball Classic. But yeah, there's your primary example of how broken Trade Finder is. I mean, come on. Like, it's a decent catcher for a really, really strong second base prospect, a really, really good reliever. So yeah, it's broken. It's broken, for sure. Yeah, so again, that's why I don't use it. Trade deadline. Nothing else happens? Nope, the Cubs. Fuck, not who we wanted. Shortstop Tucker Toman, who's fine, for reliever Anthony Kay. Which isn't that bad. I mean, Kay is a little bit older. Has an arbitration year left after this. No reason to not do it. I mean, yeah, Toman's not overly important. He's a depth shortstop for us. We will actually take that deal. So yeah, 1 year replacement filler there with K. And that is the deadline. It is the deadline to sign draft picks. We will go first. Napstar did not. We will go first after second overall pick, the reliever, or second round pick, excuse me, Joaquin DeJesus. I cannot hit his bonus demand of $2.1 million. The max I can offer is 1.82. I fully expect him to reject. He did not. Welcome, Joaquin DeJesus. We know we're not going to sign Joel James, but these three are still targets. Let's look at third rounder, Jason Maloney. And I can afford to offer him pretty much a max deal. It's only 53% interest. Maloney also says yes. Interesting. Niles, I did. Let's go after second baseman Robert Cowan. We'll offer him the max, 56% interest. Cowan does say no. There's a chance we'll bring him back anyway. And then Kincaid does say yes. So Cowan's the only one to reject, and we're going to forego signing Joel James. So here we go. The question now. 7th overall left fielder last year. We just traded for the number one position player prospect in baseball. How good is the center fielder? How good is the center fielder? Are we ready for this, chat? Are we ready? Can you say aye, aye, Captain, in honor of me not looking? 3, 2, 1.
Emotional damage.
What was that? What was that?
From now on, only take players that your scouts hate. Not a bad idea. That is the biggest bust we have drafted yet. Oh, that puts the Garrett trade into a different perspective. Our second round pick was reliever Joaquin De Jesus, who is fine for that age and overall. C potential, though. Our third round pick, Jason Maloney, has a decent potential, but that overall at that age is pretty rough. Lee Kincaid at catcher. Not bad, but the overall is pretty rough. He was almost a D potential player. "100% scouted. Our scouts had him as the best player in the draft." You are all fired. Right now. You are all immediately fired. We immediately fire our scouting staff after that. I legitimately feel like I just got kicked in the balls. Like, not even metaphorically, physically. Okay. Well, we have to move on. Let's quickly.
Oh, good for you.
Shout out to the Buck Stops here for the follow, by the way. I need to quickly take a look at the team, make sure that there's nothing I want to do in terms of mid-season call-ups and send-downs. And hopefully taking this time out to look at the team will allow me the opportunity to regain my sanity. Kind of upset nobody traded for Nolan Jones. I don't think we have too much else to do. I think Yakupov, AJ, calling that guy a Yakupov would be unfair to Nail Yakupov. Especially when Hubert really does need to work on his fielding. Might we have made a terrible, terrible mistake? We'll look at the stats at the end of the season. Presumably, oh my God, we're actually above 500. We finally get a third overall pick. And now we are leading this. Okay. Remember when I said we might make the playoffs and then we were shit? Like absolute trash. And then we started to pick it up, and it's kind of, now we're 73-61 and we're leading this division. That third overall pick is the highest draft pick we're ever going to have. And he's going to turn out to be the biggest bust of all time. Are the Boston Red Sox going to the playoffs without a surefire thing in center field and without our best reliever because we traded for Hubert McDonald? Let's call up Victor Mesa. And we'll call up Brett Martin. As we win series against Kansas City and Tampa, we're half a game up on the Rays. 3 games against Baltimore, we swept them. Game and a half up on Tampa. 4 games against the under 500 Yankees. It was a split. 3 games against the Blue Jays. Apparently we lost somebody to injury. No idea who. Looks like Nolan Jones, which is a shame. He's been playing well. I don't have that third baseman on the 40-man yet. Let's call up Jarren Duran, I suppose. We win the series against the Blue Jays. A game and a half up on the Rays. 3 games against Texas. We suffer another injury. It's impressive at this point. We'll call up pitcher Durbin Feltman. as we beat Texas. We're going to make the playoffs. We are going to make the playoffs. 3 games against the White Sox. As Pawtucket fails to make the playoffs, the Portland Sea Dogs do make the playoffs for the second year in a row. We did lose that series to Chicago. And we have 2 games coming up against Tampa before finishing our season with a 4-game set against Baltimore. The Rays currently occupy a wild card spot. It is a near certainty that we're about to make the playoffs. So the first time we did, actually, I missed the X. We just made the playoffs. I don't know I don't know if I should be happy. We got rid of our best reliever because we had big dreams of a future elite outfield. And now we go into the playoffs knowing that elite outfield isn't quite going to be a thing. And that we traded our best reliever. But we are playoff bound as we split against Tampa. We lose 3 straight to Baltimore, meaning it comes down to the last game of the season for who's going to win the division. As the Sea Dogs have been eliminated, we beat Baltimore. And we will play Tampa in round 1. For the first time since we've taken over this team, the Boston Red Sox win the AL East, with only the Rays also making the playoffs. In the Central, Tigers and Guardians are both back in the playoffs. Tigers defending champions. In the West, the Rangers and the Astros. We went from being right around White Sox, Blue Jays territory to being the best team in this division. Braves and Marlins make it out of the NL East. The Braves look to have won a tiebreaker for the division title. Out of the Central, only the Cubs make it. And from the West, Dodgers, Padres, and Giants. We knew the California teams were stepping up, and there you go. So no longer are we wondering about lottery picks. We're wondering about the playoffs. Roger Rodriguez, our winningest starter, is only an 85, which does concern me a little bit. Statistically, Brian Bayo was our best starter. Our starting pitcher needs to be better in the postseason, or we are boned. Nearly everyone was at least a 4. In terms of relievers, the remaining relievers were actually pretty damn decent. Not amazing, but decent. Schreiber and Kay in particular. And then Andreas Lawrence. Could probably use an elite reliever right about now. At catcher, Austin Wells was the best option. Hernandez is still better defensively, but at the plate, no surprise, Austin Wells, 19 home runs, is our best option. First base, Nico Cavadas actually got to play a decent amount. Hit 19 home runs. Tristan Casas with 21. Both were good. Cavadas was actually better at the plate. Go figure. At second base, Nick York. Decent. Decent all around from Nick York. He's up to a 77. Our starting third baseman, Nolan Jones, is hurt. And Sogard is absolutely abysmal at the plate. 6 months, Nolan Jones is out for the rest of the season. Meyer at shortstop. Okay at the plate, still absolutely elite defensively. Miguel Dew in left. Solid. Not amazing, but solid. In center, Duran hasn't played many games, but yep, we are struggling to hit in center. And then in right, Chase DeLauder and Miguel Blay. DeLauder's solid. Blay kind of struggled at the plate. Here's my big issue. I do not believe that I can add Chen because he's not on the 40-man. I should have added him. So Sogard might be our third baseman. That, in the words of Scott Steiner, spells disaster for me at sacrifice. Calling up Lugo might not be the worst idea. Can't take Mata out. He's out for 1 to 2 months. Well, let's take a look at awards. We have an award winner for the first time. As AL MVP, Texas's Corey Seager. NL-wise, it goes to, in his first year, in Colorado, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Over a 1.0 OPS. What a machine. AL Cy Young winner, Ian Anderson. Really off the weight of those strikeouts. NL Cy Young, Tariq Skubal with the Dodgers. Can't disagree with that. Batting title in the AL goes to Tyler Stevenson. Barely. Over Wander Franco. NL-wise, Adley Rutschman of the Chicago Cubs, which is weird, but that's a thing. Reliever of the year. Who needs relief pitching help? Who? Not us. We have Anthony Kay. NL-wise, Camilo Doval. The Giants. Over Garrett as well, who finished in second. Well, the memes are writing themselves. Rookie of the year, Ray Rivas for the Toronto Blue Jays. NL-wise, Sammy Infante. And Hank Aaron Award winners were Julio Rodriguez and Adley Rutschman. So we play Tampa in a best of 3. In a best of 3. Right. I have to double check this. Because I just have a really weird feeling about this roster. I kind of do want to add Lugo. It's because Duran is still on the roster, and we really don't need that many outfielders. 1, 2, 3. Even if we go with 5. I mean, Jaron Duran's playing well, so is Rafaela. It's been Garrett Mitchell kind of struggling. You could argue go with the hotter hand. You could make that argument. Wow, Bob Asensio is now one of our higher-rated pitchers, but he is not on the 40-man yet, is he? He is not. Walter and Denton are. And given that Brian Mata's hurt, that is going to be the situation there. Oh, man. What a situation this is. We're going to call up Lugo because I need another infielder given the injuries. We're going to drop Victor Mesa Jr. from the playoff roster. And we'll leave Jaron Duran hanging around. Whitlock, Rodriguez. Honestly, really quickly. User settings, mode specific. Let's turn off auto lineup and rotation. We're going to take just a little bit of control here. Brian Bayo was our best pitcher this year. He is going to start game number 1. I don't really care about overall. I care about performance. We'll go with Roger in game 3, if need be. We got Jimmy Denton as a long reliever. Anthony Kay. Looking all right. Okay, I think that's fine. Lineup wise, we'll see what we're dealing with, but it's playoff time for the first time. I still want to cry. Oh my god.